everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Lymph Lounge, the conversational podcast about cultivating a state of flow in our bodies and our lives. So sit back and relax because today I am sharing my thoughts on peel season, part 2 of the drainage pathways, and a castor oil pack guide. If you are brand new, just a quick introduction. I'm Genevieve Albert Mawini. I am a retired facialist turned lymph naturopath a few years ago. My business is the Lymph Initiatives, a well-aging and longevity institute specializing in lymphatic health and drainage. So this week we are kickstarting the episode with a discussion about peel season. Okay, full disclaimer here. I have quite a bit to say about this, and I will try to keep it under 10 minutes as much as possible, but this week's episode might be a little bit longer because of that. So last week, I saw a post about the concept of peel season, and this concept usually starts to be plastered around everywhere at the end of September because peels and the sun or the heat don't mix. And this is why you start to see peels being heavily advertised at this time of the year up until the spring. You will hear me talk a lot about skincare here in the skincare industry on the podcast and in general in my content because one, the skin is an organ of detoxification and plays a very important role in lymphatic health and health in general. And I want to raise more awareness about that. And two, when you look at skincare from a lymphatic lens, there is so much in the skincare industry that hurts the lymph and the lymphatic system. And as I have shared before, the lymphatic system helps to support your body as a whole, kind of works in the background. So when it is busy taming fires that we create on our skin, the entirety of the rest of the body will suffer, in plain and simple terms. And I will dive a little bit deeper into this concept in this segment today. I will share with you the one lymphatic concept that completely ruined the skincare industry for me. And I just want to share my experience and my story. If that resonates with you, then perhaps what I offer is for you. And maybe it's what you've been looking for a long time and couldn't find anywhere else. Before I share that story, let's chat about the concept of peel season for a minute. I dread this time of the year every year because it means that many people will be misled into something that is promoted as good for the skin when it's not. If you've never heard of a peel uses an acid or a combination of acids to dissolve the bonds between the cells of the first few layers of the skin. So that causes the cells to peel off. Acids such as AHAs, which include glycolic, lactic, mandelic, tartaric, malic, and citric. It can also contain some BHAs such as salicylic. Technically, salicylic is not really a BHA, but I won't get into that right now. And more recently, also, there's another category called PHA, so polyhydroxy acids, and those include gluconolactone, lactobionic, and galactose. While PHAs claim to be gentler on the skin, Health Canada here in Canada just decided to group them all together and have the same warnings and BHAs and AHAs have had so far. So peels are in the category of what is called controlled injury treatments, where we inflict an injury to the skin and then force it to regenerate. And I say force here because it is forcing the skin to do something unnatural. I know that the skincare industry has a very sexy way to promote it as stimulating to the skin, all those controlled injury treatments, but it's really just forcing the skin to do something it's not meant to do and creating a ton of inflammation in the process. From so many angles, peels are just destructive treatments, provide no true benefits, and there's a higher risk you will end up with other skin problems afterwards, especially in the spring and summer because you're not respecting the skin's natural cycle here. And listen, I am not here to change anyone's mind either. What I do in the Lymph Lounge is I share my experience and what I know. And if that speaks to you, makes your life easier, and saves you some time and money, I am happy with that. So if you're dead set on getting peels and you say, Genevieve, I've been getting peels for years at this time of year and I enjoy them and I never got any bad results from it, it's okay. There are many factors to skin health, and it just takes one time for things to go south very quick. And that can take months, that can take years, or even decades. So this segment is probably not for you. This segment is for those who feel pressured into getting a chemical peel series because they see all those posts, or those who think that that's what they have to do, but deep down, they don't even know why they do it. I am here to tell you, you absolutely don't have to get a peel series. In fact, your skin doesn't even need it. So now that I've shared my thoughts on the concept of peel season, I want to share with you, in relation to this, the concept that completely ruined the skincare industry for me and all those controlled injury treatments or active ingredient skincare products that is at the core of the skincare industry. Just a side note, when I talk about this concept with people, usually microneedling comes up, and I consider microneedling separate from that. In theory, microneedling should not cause any controlled injury when done properly. But again, microneedling has been completely ruined by the skincare industry and the popularity of it the last couple of years. And it can cause a tremendous amount of damage when done a certain way. So when I say controlled injury treatments, you can keep traditional microneedling, not the microneedling the way it's been done in the last 5-10 years, out of that. Okay. So when we're talking about how the lymph works in the skin, for the lymph to go and clean all the waste and bring essential repair materials for the skin, the skin is made of protein, fats, and water. And what does the lymph transport? Protein, fats, and water. So the lymph needs to reach the cells. Healthy cells make up healthy skin. The skin will only be as healthy as the state of the cells. So biologically, the space between the end of the lymph vessels and the cells in the skin is already set up with a certain distance in a way that makes that exchange easy. I'm talking about the exchange of collecting all of the waste so that the cells bathe in a clean environment, and providing repair materials so the skin can heal itself every day. And when you introduce inflammation to the skin, so controlled injury treatments, active ingredients that irritate or stimulate or force the skin to do something that it is naturally not designed to do, the body reacts to it by sending more fluid to the surface to try and dilute that inflammation that's happening. This creates swelling, and now you are left with more space between the lymph vessels and the cells. Whenever there is swelling, there is more fluid and therefore more space between the lymph vessels and the cells. So what does this do? Prevents the collection of the waste and prevents repair materials from reaching the cells. This is why inflammation is so key when we're looking at well aging and longevity. What flushes inflammation? The lymph. And when there is inflammation, the lymph cannot work properly. And there is this concept, you might have heard of it, inflammaging. And one of the reason that is because when there is inflammation, not only is the lymph busy with the immune system, because it travels within the lymph, so the immune system trying to mitigate the situation, but the lymph cannot even do its work properly. So the environment cannot be cleansed properly, and the repair materials have a more difficulty reaching. So I hope with this information, you can acknowledge the impact that inflammatory treatments or active ingredients can cause on not only your skin, but also your health. And when I explain this concept, I often get some pushback. People say to me, but Genevieve, I get such a nice glow with a peel. That sought after glow that you see in the before and afters, right? Well, I hate to break it to you, but that glow is swelling caused by inflammation. The removal of the surface layers of the skin sends the skin in overdrive because it has lost its protection. So your body will send fluids and other substances to the affected area via the lymph system to try to deal with that. It's an emergency. This will plump the skin and create a shiny glass effect, which is mistaken as a glow. So, in closing, I'd like to offer some things that you can do instead of all those controlled injury and inflammatory active ingredients. First, use gentle, damage free technologies such as phototherapy, or commonly called red light. So, light therapy has many different benefits. You can also try feeding your skin instead of peeling it by using an occlusive balm at night, for example. Feed your barrier. Take it slow. Lots of massages and hot towels also can help stimulate the skin in a good way. So I hope this helps give you another perspective on how you can support your skin better and also support your body and your lymph at the same time. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts about it. Let me know in a rating and a review or a comment on the blog post, or you can even DM me on social. This week on the drainage support segment, it's the last part 2 of drainage pathways. Last week for this segment, I shared about the lymphatic system, the brain, the lungs, the skin, and the mitochondria. So for today, let's start with the gallbladder. The gallbladder plays a massive role in reducing the toxic load on the body. From my perspective, the gallbladder is the top drainage pathway. So to understand the role of the gallbladder in detoxifying the body is the gallbladder produces bile, and bile is very important when it comes to detoxification, mainly because a lot of man-made toxicants, such as pesticides, are fat soluble, which means they are not soluble in water. And that's very important when we're talking about detoxification because fat soluble toxicants, the body has a hard time to deal with those and to eliminate those. So, what do you need to transform a substance and make it soluble in water? You need an emulsifier, a substance that is going to emulsify and kind of dissolve that. And that in the body is the bile. The bile emulsify fats, and that also includes fat soluble toxicants that serve no purpose in the body and the body has a hard time eliminating. So that's one of the major role of the bile when it comes to detoxification. Then we're also talking about the bile helps to bind certain substances in the body. We're talking about endotoxins produced by harmful bacteria in the gut, excess hormones, as well as xenobiotics, such as food additives. So one of the best ways to support the gallbladder and bile production is fiber. Many people don't have enough fiber in their diet, and that can impact a lot of things, of course, but that also highly impacts the gallbladder and bile production. So again, increase your fiber, everyone. Another simple thing you can do to support the gallbladder and bile production is lukewarm lemon water or celery juice each morning on an empty stomach. Castor oil packs on the gallbladder area. And we're going to talk about castor oil packs today with the free guide. Bitters, digestive enzymes, bile salts, ox bile, turmeric, dandelion, those are all herbs and natural substances that can help support bile production. Foods, we're talking about choline-rich foods such as eggs, meat, fish, chicken, shrimps, shiitake mushrooms. Vitamin E-rich foods such as dark leafy greens, almonds, sunflower seeds, avocado, and olives or olive oil. The emotion attached to the gallbladder in Chinese medicine is resentment. So working through resentment, according to Chinese medicine, can also help support the gallbladder. Now, when we're talking about the gallbladder, the liver is also closely related. Once the gallbladder has emulsified fats and fat-soluble toxicants, the liver will process that. Let's not forget that the liver has 2 phases. So phase 1 uses enzymes to neutralize toxicant. And that process often creates more toxic byproducts, which need additional attention. And for the liver drainage to work properly, phase 2 is very important. So phase 2 turns those byproducts into water-soluble substances with the help of the bile, so they can then be filtered and excreted through the lymph. The lymph will then bring those to the colon to be eliminated. So the thing with the liver is phase 1 uses enzymes to neutralize toxicants. Often the first phase creates more toxic byproducts, which need additional attention in phase 2. And if the liver cannot complete phase 2, we end up with a lot of fat-soluble substances that are just being recycled back into the bile. How do we support both liver phases? Well, with glutathione, glycine, enemas, especially coffee enemas. There is a recent study that came out a couple months ago that shows that a coffee enema helps to significantly increase glutathione production. Again, castor oil packs on the liver area. As for herbs, we have milk thistle, ginger, chlorella, and cilantro. And the emotion associated with the liver in Chinese medicine is anger. So, working through anger, according to Chinese medicine, can help process that emotion and support your liver. So, when I say processing emotions, as always, EFT tapping or Qigong exercises, or of course, counseling or therapy, whatever works best for you. Now, let's move on to the free resource for this week. So, last week I shared the dry brushing guide, which is an extremely beneficial practice for the lymph. This week, I want to share about castor oil packs, which is another excellent way to support drainage. So, what is castor oil? Castor oil is extracted from the seeds of the castor bean plant, has been used for centuries for its therapeutic benefits. It contains ricinoleic acid, which is a magic compound of castor oil. And when the oil is applied to the skin, this compound gets absorbed by the skin and then goes systemic, so throughout the whole body. It is one of the very few substances that actually does so. And what it does is it assists the body's healing processes. So today we'll cover what castor oil packs are, their history, and the many health benefits they can offer, and different ways to do a castor oil pack. So if you do want a PDF copy of all this information plus additional information, join the newsletter at lymphinitiatives.com/newsletter, and you'll get access to that PDF and also all the past PDF resources that I have shared since the beginning of the year. So what are castor oil packs? So packs are one of the most effective way to utilize this miracle oil, and a castor oil pack is a simple yet potent remedy that involves applying castor oil to a piece of cloth, usually an organic, unbleached cotton flannel, and placing it on the skin. You can then optionally cover the pack with a heat source or let your body heat facilitate absorption, depending on the type of pack you're using. So the warmth of the body is often enough to allow the oil to penetrate deep into the tissues, and then promoting healing and relaxation that way. I'm a big history buff, so let's look a little bit at the history on the use of castor oil. And like many healing practices, it dates back to ancient Egypt, where it was prized for its therapeutic properties and used in various cosmetics and remedies as well. And in fact, castor oil has been found in ancient Egyptian tombs dating back to 4000 BC. Over the centuries, various cultures have recognized the potential of castor oil, including East Asian and Ayurvedic medicine. Which brings us to today, where castor oil is produced primarily in India and Brazil and is widely used in the industrial, cosmetic wellness, and pharmaceutical industries. And research has shown positive results for constipation, liver enzyme levels, and cholesterol levels, as well as measurably enhanced immune function, so white blood cell count. The benefits of castor oil packs. So castor oil packs are said to have many healing benefits, such as reduced inflammation, pain relief, improved digestive health, detoxification support, enhanced liver function, relaxation, and stress reduction. There are several methods to applying the oil and flannel. So there's a traditional method: put the flannel on and then soak it with castor oil. You want it to be saturated but not dripping. So regardless of the technique you're doing, you always want to finish with covering the flannel with the other towel, which is optional if you have a pack, like, when you buy those specially designed castor oil pack with an occlusive backing. You don't need an extra towel or even heat. So cover the flannel with a towel and then apply the heat. Then you want to relax for 30 minutes to an hour if applying heat. Do not use the heat source for too long, as it can create stagnation. It actually creates the opposite. If you're not using heat, you can leave the pack on for a lot longer. Some of the contraindications or cautions when you're doing castor oil packs is do not use over broken skin. Do not apply heat with an active infection, such as a urinary tract infection. And of course, do not use castor oil packs while pregnant or breastfeeding. Now, for the care of your pack. So to clean it, you can soak pack in baking soda and warm water, rinse with clean, non-toxic soap, and hang dry. And to extend the life of your pack, only use 1 tablespoon of fresh castor oil with each use. Keep castor oil in the center of your pack, away from the seam. So I hope this free resource section gives you a lot of tips and information on how to start so you can enjoy all the benefits. This is what I had for you today in the Lymph Lounge. I hope you enjoyed today's topics. Again, this podcast is available on Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify podcast platforms, as well as my own website, lymphinitiatives.com/podcasts, in the form of a blog post, and also on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and follow or subscribe and turn on notifications depending on which platform you're on. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I will see you in the next episode.